Hello lecturer, hello everyone. We are from Group 2. Today, we are conducting a video presentation about Chapter 6, which is focused on the acceptability of reasons, including their credibility. This is the content for our presentation. There are 7 points, which include the introduction, acceptability question put in context, different kind of claim, the acceptability of claim, thinking map, judging the credibility of sources carefully, have people judge what is true, and conclusion. Before going to the detail, I would like to define these 2 words first. What is reason and what is credibility? So, reason means the power of the mind to think, understand, and form judgment logically, while credibility means the quality of being trust and belief in. Let's getting back into our lesson. In the previous chapter, we have concentrated on some techniques required to understand what answer mean, especially when they are reasoning. If someone gives reason with aim to persuade us of a point of view, we are not only want to understand what they saying, but want to be in the position to evaluate it. First of all, let me ask you one question. What tends to happen when we hear someone else accusing a case? Of course, if they agree with what the people is getting at, they said, yes, I agree with that, without considering the detail of the arguments. If they disagree with that, they said, I don't agree with that. But it is very rare for listeners to take the argument seriously and weigh carefully whether it is good argument. When we are reasonably clear what an author is saying, what his or her reason or conclusion are, we are in a position to evaluate the reasoning, and this involves asking the 3 quite different questions. 1. Are the reasons acceptable? 2. Does the reasoning support its conclusion? And are there other relevant considerations or arguments? Last but not least, what is your overall evaluation? And we'll tell you more about the different kind of claim, which let people know how to judge whether the claim are acceptable or not.
Moving on to the different kind of claim. First of all, we should take a look at the meaning of claim, which is referred to as statement of belief that something is true even though it has not been proved or checked. So normally, when it comes to argument, people usually make different kind of claims depending on their perspective toward a case. For instance, during the quarrel, some people claim present fact, evidence, or data, which is also known as factual claims, that means to show the existence of something, and some express value judgment, which is referred to a judgment that is formed by people themselves based on their point of view. Some state definitions, category, or principle. Moreover, some also give casual judgments that is referred to a form of A was a cause of B. And last but not least, some provide recommendation. For example, there is a statement of factual claim. According to an official figure, 13% of the UK populations live in poverty. And here is a value judgment, which is, it is shameful that such a rich society as the UK allows so many people to live in poverty. So, it is shameful refer to the opinion of the readers or claimers toward UK peoples live in poverty. Additionally, casual claim is poverty in the UK has many causes, including unemployment, low pay, and more. So here, we can see that poverty is the cause of unemployment and low pay. People also can give a recommendation as the government should try to eliminate child poverty over the next 20 years. Consequently, it is important to be able to recognize what kind of claim is being made, since such different kind of claim have to be evaluated in contrasting way.
Acceptability of claims. The questions of acceptability is often about credibility, whether the credibility might be an issue or not. So, how can a statement or claim be accepted or rejected? There are 6 questions to be issued the acceptability. First, how certain is a claim to be? Whether a claim is acceptable may depend on strength of commitment which a claim will be accepted as a guess or a possibility, or will be judged by several standards as being true or certain. For example, I am certain that, or it is my faith that, is how strongly we committed and most likely going to happen. At this point, for example, at an early stage of investigation, a detective's college said that I think the contact was an informed guess rather than a proven fact and could be accepted based on convincing evidence. So, an acceptable claim might depend on the contact which is made. Do we need an expertise to decide whether to accept the claim or not? The answer is yes. For an argument that difficult to you, the fact or out of our capable knowledge, the expertise is required to make a decision of acceptability. Some contexts are widely known but still holding some doubts. However, everyone tends to accept because it is reasonable and makes sense. Next question: how well does it fit with our other belief? It depends on the past belief comparing to the new belief that make us feel plausible and easy to grab that belief or not. It might be fit well or sometimes not. To consume a good claim, we need as much as clear information and reliable sources as possible. It represents the certainty of a human to be accepted or not.
We now look at part 6.4, which is about to summarize a thinking map for judging acceptability. In order to judge something and make it look sense, we have to make sure that these questions in the thinking map box are conducted. First question is to know how certain it is that we claim. Second question is, does the content of our claim incite the acceptability or not? The third one is, does our judgment require the expertise or the research to decide or not? Then we might need to think if what we are judging is widely known or believed, and how well does it fit with the other beliefs. The fourth question is, are the source that we will find is trustworthy or not? In order to explain further, we will now shall move to the next point. Judging the credibility of sources carefully. There are 5 factors of credibility that we might use in the judgment to support our sources, which is reputation, ability to get information, vested interest, expertise, and neutrality or bias. For example, you want to buy a second-used car, however, you don't know whether that car is good or not. Hence, we hire a mechanic from a famous company to analyze the car. Then, in normal circumstances, we will accept their advice because they are the relevant expertise, they don't know the seller, so there is no reason that they would lie to us. Moreover, they work for a good reputation company to provide this service. All these reasons give us the urge to accept their judgment.
For this point, we are going to discuss about credibility. Credibility is one of the most important things for a human being to have. From the title, credibility is different from truth, but it helps us judge what is true. This statement is quite accurate. For instance, Dan is known to be a gangster back when he was in high school and had a record of beating people up for fun. Because of this very reason, he will always be judged as a bad and aggressive by the society. So if suddenly a rumor had spread that he recently injured an old man, even though he did not do it, Dan would still be very suspicious due to his very low credibility.
To further enhance our understanding of this chapter, let us take a look at the study text from the previous semester, the letter from Thailand. Long On Tong, a typical old-fashioned Chinese man, believed that girls should not receive higher education because they are weak and they belong in the kitchen. This is a value claim based on his ideology. But how do we know such claim is true or false? Value claim need to be judged in terms of others' different values. To find out how acceptable or how true the claim is, we should ask ourselves some simple questions. What kind of society does Long On Tong live in at that time? What kind of person is he? Is there any scientifically proven fact that women are not intelligent enough to receive education? First of all, he lived in a society where they value men over women. The belief that men are superior has already been carved very deep into his root. Given only these two indicators, it is certain that his claim is not credible. This theory also applies to real-life situations. Suppose during this COVID-19 outbreak, your friends tell you that not to go anywhere near Chinese people because the COVID-19 virus originated from China. Should you believe her? COVID-19 is originated from Wuhan, but not all Chinese are from Wuhan. Aside from the Chinese, there are many tourists from many different countries that could have visited Wuhan before coming to Cambodia. Moreover, how credible is your friend's statement? On what basis that she come to the conclusions that the Chinese contain COVID-19 virus? Is she a medical personnel or a migrant police working at the airport? This may not guarantee that it is safe to stay near Chinese people, but reason above gave us a good reason that her claim is not credible and should not be accepted.
So, in conclusion, there are 5 different kinds of claims. The first one is factual claim, and then value judgment. The next one is definition. The fourth one is casual explanation, and the last one is recommendation. We also pointed out their differences and how to recognize them. So in order to judge something clearly and fairly, these are some of the questions for deciding whether a claim is acceptable or not. And that's the end of our video. Thank you for watching.